Once a giant, always a giant. For me, it's only a giant.
What's going on YouTube? Diggy546. Definitely hit that subscribe button if you're new. Like the video if you like the video. And I won't tell if you click that bell. But let's go ahead and get into this. So there's been some recent developments, and since I'm in school studying diversity in the workplace and employee motivation, employee satisfaction, all of that jazz, I just wanted to give my 2 cents on this new diversity rule that says that you'll give teams two third round picks if one of their coaches leaves and ends up being a head coach on another team. I'm not sure that I like this rule. It's just incentivizing things that should already be done. I don't think it should be incentivized. First of all, it's going to create animosity between coaches that feel like they should have gotten an opportunity, and since they feel like they're not a minority, they didn't get that opportunity, whether it be true or not true, it's going to look like that. And then two, you're going to have minority head coaches who are going to be suspicious of, did I really earn this job? I mean, I know I earned this job, but did they really believe that I earned this job? This is going to incentivize teams hiring these minority coaches at the coordinator level, which is needed, but the process isn't enough. Nothing is being put into place that's improving the hiring process of a coach at any level, of a scout at any level, of why we have minority coaches and minority scouts that aren't being promoted to director of player personnel, that aren't being then promoted to GM. Why is this happening? Why are all of these former black quarterbacks, why are they opening their own quarterback camps and training all of these prospects and doing all of these other things besides taking a job in the NFL? Why are they doing this? So it just makes you want to circle back around and just say, why is the NFL not being a place where former players most of the time even want to work in? The NFL also has a huge issue in their front offices as far as the VP of communications for the Houston Texans was fired because she didn't fit the culture. She was the only female VP of communications in the entire NFL. So that goes to show you that they're lacking diversity in that part too, which isn't a football thing. You don't have the excuse of saying that it needs to be a man, it needs to be an experienced man, because there are plenty of experienced women of all colors who are qualified to be VPs of communication. But going back to this new rule, I don't think that it'll work. Hopefully it proves me wrong, but I think more needs to be done as far as, if you're going to keep this Rooney rule in place, it needs to be done right. You don't just need to hire people, you need to hire quality people. You don't just need to bring in candidates that are minorities just to do it. This is what I'm going to be doing in my career, is this turning these processes into systems, making it so the NFL can check each one of these teams and making sure that they're following this protocol, following this interview process, following everything exactly the same way with every single one of these minority candidates and with every non-minority candidate. Because if you're having informal interviews and you're hiring people, what you want to call cronyism, you're hiring people that you know, people that you've worked with. The Giants hired Bill Belichick's, one of his coaches, which is somebody that they know. They hired Jason Garrett, he used to be in the building. They hired Dave Gettleman, he used to be in the building. So you want to make sure that these processes are being done uniformly, and you should have to bring in minority candidates that are a real threat. You should bring in minority candidates that are finalists in the job interview. Because if you don't do that, all you're going to do is have teams hiring these assistants and dumping them off to other teams to become coordinators, if they do become coordinators. Because the way it's set up now, you're going to have teams just interviewing people just to interview them, and then going with who they originally wanted in the first place. And then you're going to have teams less likely to want to retain the minority coaches that they feel are good. Also, what needs to be looked at is the fact is, when these minority coaches are hired, they're not being given the same chances as their counterparts. Jim Caldwell, he makes the playoffs. He almost makes the NFC Championship if he's not cheated by the Cowboys. And then he goes, I think, 7-9 or 8-8, and then he gets fired. There's tons of situations in why minority candidates are not being given the opportunity to become these head coaches, and then they're not being given the opportunity to stay forever as their head coach, like somebody like Jeff Fisher, which you can kind of make an argument that it's just these organizations that for some reason have these loyalties to some coaches, and you can make the unicorn example of Marvin Lewis, but Marvin Lewis had that team in the playoffs almost every year. Again, I think the NFL has dropped the ball in this situation again, and things need to be done deliberately to improve the entire hiring process of the NFL. So if you made it this deep into the video, definitely hit that subscribe button. I make Giants content, NFL content, so all NFL fans are welcome here. And until next time, it's Diggy546, and I'm out.